Hi guys, today we're gonna replace the screen on an HP Pavilion laptop with an 8th generation i7 CPU. The exact model number is HP Pavilion 15-CS2073CL. So on this guy, as you can see when I'm turning it on, I'm gonna show you. The screen displays something like this. Obviously the screen is cracked, so that will have to be replaced. Now before you go ahead and order a new screen, either first remove your original screen and make sure that the part number on the back of the screen matches with the one that you're actually going to buy, or match the resolution of these two screens, as there are actually, for this one I believe there are 3 different versions of the screen. One is Full HD, one is 720p, and one of them is Full HD with touch capabilities. The installation will be identical regardless of the screen used. It's just that you might have some if you're not matching the screen properly with the one that you actually need for your computer, you're going to have problems at the connecting ports. I mean, the connecting the Lvds cable will not fit. So make sure you order the right screen. Don't ask me where I'm getting it from. I'm using same outlets as you guys most likely use, eBay or Amazon. So yeah, with that said, let's get it. Let me show you how to remove the old screen and how to install the new one. It's going to be a pretty straightforward operation. Something which most likely you've seen before in my videos, but in case you didn't see my videos before and this is the first time you're watching my channel, I want to show you from beginning to the end how to do it. So okay, let's see here. Okay, so first we'll have to remove the bezel. Okay, so you'll use a pry tool, something like that, and the bezel will be glued to the actual LCD. So you'll just have to go slowly, just like that, around the edges of the LCD. Okay. And you can slowly use your fingers to lift the glue. Okay, and we go on the side. This one came pretty easy. And now on the bottom might be a little bit harder, so you'll go with the pry tool. Don't insert it too much so you don't actually get to the cables underneath, but just like this, so you're cutting the glue. Okay. And that's it. Now we're going to pull it apart and lift it up. Okay, this will be a little bit difficult to put back on without removing the whole screen assembly, but for if you don't manage to do that, then you'll have to actually physically open the whole assembly, and then you're gonna put the screen, the bezel on it. Now as you see here, you would expect the screen to be held together by screws. However, many of the manufacturers, they gave up on using screws. You will see that there are some screws here, but they actually hold together the right here is like a reinforcement for the hinges. So then you'll try to peel you'll try to pull the screen, but you see it won't move. So obviously there is some glue underneath. Now, how are you gonna get rid of that glue without bending the back of the computer? So I'll show you how. Right here, let's make a zoom. I don't know how much you're gonna be able to see. Right here, by the hinges, you see there is a white, you can see a white piece right there. Okay, so that is actually the glue, the strips of glue. So you have to grab that with a tweezer and slowly peel it, pull it towards you. Then you want to grab it with your fingers and start to pull downwards. Okay, so you see, just slowly, take your time, don't pull too fast, because that will break and then you're kind of screwed. So, pull it downwards. They use the same type of glue which those people who made the 3M, they use that hangers on the wall. So basically when you want to remove it so you don't remove the paint from the wall, you'll have to pull onto the adhesive strip. Okay. Use two fingers, one of them to push the tape downwards and one to pull it towards you. Okay, something like that. I don't know how much you are able to see. By the way, make sure that the computer is off. Okay, make sure the power button is not flickering. That means that the computer is actually sleeping, is not turned off, because you don't want to short the new screen, or worse, damage your fuse or something else, or the display driver on the motherboard. Okay, so always turn off or remove the battery, if your computer has a removable battery, out of your laptop before attempting to do any kind of work on your laptop. Okay, so you see that the screen is already starting to come off. Not all the way, because obviously there is still adhesive tape underneath. Again, take your time. There is no rush. Okay, so this is the adhesive strip. If I put it on the screen, you'll see it goes, well, pretty much this is bent out of shape, but it goes onto the length of the screen. Okay, so on this side, the screen, it's already, you see, you can remove it. Now we're gonna do the same thing onto the other side. Exactly what we did here. So you see that little piece right there, which you want to grab it with a tweezer right here. Grab it with your fingers and then pull downwards on it. Okay, so it's exactly the same procedure as before. Again, take your time. This tape is pretty strong, so chances to break it are pretty small, but you know, don't underestimate it. Okay, let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay. And when you work on this side, make sure you're not pressing the power button to accidentally turn on the computer. Okay, so work around the power button, not directly on top of it. In case, let's say, if this would break somehow, you can always just literally pull on the screen, because the screen is cracked anyways. So I don't see a reason why you'd want to remove the screen, because even if the camera goes bad or something like that, the cables are on the side of the screen, so you don't have to physically remove the screen to troubleshoot the camera. So if, let's say, this one breaks, you can just pull on the screen and eventually this will break. Or if you want to do it a little bit cleaner, there are these nice tools online. It's made out of metal. It's very, very flexible. It has a little edge here which you can actually put it right here on the screen, and you will go upwards. You slide it so it will stay something like that, and then you will cut the tape. So that's the worst case scenario. That's what you can do. Okay, so now the screen is completely, the glue under the screen is completely removed. As you see, the screen, you can just fold it down. Now you have, don't put it all the way down, because you will pull onto this connection. Okay, so over there you have the Lvds cable, okay, which, like in most cases, it is caught up with a little tape right here onto the LCD. So we have to remove that tape in order to be able to push the Lvds cable down. So you just put the end of the tweezer under the tape, and you just go up just like that, slowly. Okay, you want to reuse this tape, as you will still have plenty glue left on it. Okay, or you can add your own tape after that. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so that is removed. We're gonna put it in that way, and now with that tape out of the way, we can just push onto the connector and pull it just right out. Now with the new screen, again, make sure that the power is off, and we're gonna put in the new screen. We're not gonna put the tape because we want to test the new screen for functionability. Okay, so you'll put it at an angle. It's probably a 45-degree angle. I'm not sure that you're gonna be able to see what I'm doing, because my hand probably it's on the way, but I can't really work otherwise. There's no way for me to. Okay, so you see the connector is in, and this is another reason you don't want to cut this, because you use it as, you know, like you can pull on it to help the cable go inside of the LCD. So now let's turn on the computer and see if the new screen is working. So let's see. I'm gonna power it on. Remember all those lines and everything on the old screen. Let's see how the new one looks like. Okay, so let's see. And there you go, you have the HP symbol, you have the loading. So it is working pretty much as it's supposed to. Just going to put this little here just to protect the customer information. Okay, let's see, is it still, what is it doing? Yeah, it's got a regular hard drive, so booting up will take a little time. We're just gonna wait just to show you guys that it is working, and yeah, it's not there. So yeah, then okay, so you have a beautiful image. Screen is fully functional. So now we can go and glue it back. Okay, let me just shut it off. Okay, we're gonna do shut down. Okay, so the computer is shutting off. We'll wait for this button to turn off completely. Okay, tap on the keyboard, make sure that the computer is actually off and not sleeping. So, first things first, let's reattach that tape on the back of the LCD where the connector is. As I said, if this one is, it does not have enough adhesive on the back of it, you can use regular tape, which is, I'm going to reinforce the existing one with a piece of regular Scotch tape, since you don't need anything fancy because that's what they used originally. Okay, so let me put the camera so you guys can see. Okay, and we're going to put that right on top of that connector right there. That will keep it together. Okay, so I'm gonna put it back just for a second, and until I get my adhesive tape. So as adhesive tape, you have a couple choices. You know, typically I recommend these red tapes. Why? Because they do come in different width. Okay, so this one is about almost the same width as your original one, so that's what we're going to use, or you can find yourself any other tape on Amazon or wherever, whomever is your favorite retailer. Okay, so I'm gonna put the screen down and we will apply the tape. You can apply the tape either on the back, directly onto the back of the screen, onto this portion. Okay, make sure it is very clean, so it would help the tape catch stronger. Or if you prefer, you can actually do it onto the bezel right here. Okay, anywhere there. Where should I put it? Where should I put it? Let's put it directly onto the back of the screen. Okay, so I have to find something to put under the screen so it keeps it at an angle. Okay, something like this. Okay, and we will start applying the double-sided tape. Okay, so we'll do it. Try to do it as close to the side as possible, and the reason for that being that in case you'll have to remove the screen for some reason in the future, you don't have to put that cutting tool that I showed you earlier. You don't have to insert it too deep. Okay, so we're gonna cut this and we're gonna repeat the same process. Okay, so for some reason my camera just turned off, so I had to turn it back on. So yeah, back to the video. We're gonna apply the second adhesive. On the other side of the screen. If you feel adventurous, you can put another layer of the tape on top. Not necessarily, but you know. Anyway, you're gonna have kind of a hard time removing it the next time you're going to use. The next time, hopefully, you won't have to remove it. Okay, but if you do, you're gonna have a little bit of a hard time. Now, before we put it back together, we're gonna peel the backing, the protective backing of the double-sided tape. 1, 2, and very important, turn on the computer again, make sure that the screen is working, make sure you did not somehow moved that connector, because you're gonna hate yourself if you did and you didn't tested it, and then you'll have to remove the newly put screen. So Let's see. Yeah, I got the HP, so everything works. We're just gonna shut off the computer. Okay, and now just to put it back into its place. Okay, I'll start with the left side. Okay, and you can't really put it the wrong way, to be honest with you. Okay, here we go. Now to make sure that it's properly set, I'm just gonna take a little cloth and slowly, I mean very lightly, put a little bit of a pressure on the screen. Not much, okay, you don't want to damage your screen, but just enough to actually make the glue stick. Okay, now it's time to remove the front protective film. Okay, and time to reapply the front bezel. Now, as you see on the front bezel, there was some glue, which in some cases that glue might have become damaged when you remove the bezel. So we'll apply a new layer of glue onto that one as well. So that's just here. Okay, sorry the mess on the desk, but it's pretty much that's how it is when it's very busy. Okay, remove as much as possible from the old adhesive. Okay, as you don't really want to put the new adhesive on top of the old one, because it will create in some parts it will become thicker. The bezel would be thicker than in other ones, and it's not going to look good. Okay, so this might be actually the most time consuming process from all this screen replacement, but yeah. Okay, so actually what I'm going to, you can use alcohol if you want to soften the glue. I find it actually easier to just go with a little tool on top of it rather than putting alcohol on it and then waiting for it to melt and then remove it, but to each its own. So if you find it easier that way, by all means feel free to use any kind of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, denaturated, or whatever you have it. Just don't use acetone. Okay, so acetone will melt your plastic. Okay, so you see, with a little patience, it came out pretty good. This side clean up pretty well. Now we're gonna work under the bottom. We're gonna do the same thing. Okay. We gotta thank HP that they didn't put any crazy adhesive like other manufacturers do. I'm not gonna name them here, but they're not using a Windows operating system, okay, on their computers, so they use some crazy. Yes, I have this camera which actually needs an external fan especially now in the summer month when it's actually a little bit hotter in my shop. It turns itself off because the internal temperatures are becoming too high, and even though it's supposed to record in 4K and everything, I don't know how the engineers have designed this camera that it cannot actually record more than, I would say, 10-15 minutes without overheating. So yeah, other than that, it's a pretty decent camera. But yeah, so if you see that the video cuts off, is because of the internal temperature of the camera is getting too high and the camera shuts off itself. Okay, you can even actually skip over this part because it's pretty boring. Nothing to see here. It's just me removing the old glue from the bezel. I could actually just cut the video and show you guys once it's done, but I want to show you as much as possible the whole process, so you can do it in the same time, as I find it sometimes it actually helps. Okay. just be a little bit careful around the camera lens. It's not actually the lens, it's just a small window, but you don't really want to put a scratch on it, otherwise you won't look as good on zoom as you normally would. Okay. And if you're using alcohol, make sure that the glue is not getting stuck on that little window, that little glass piece, because it's going to be hard to clean. Okay, so avoid it if possible. Okay. And there is only one more. As you see, they use two different types of adhesive. They use this one onto one side, and on the other side is the white one. So don't feel bad if you're using different adhesive strips either. I personally like the black one a little bit more because it's actually more flexible, so you can just pull it, kind of like the one that we had behind the LCD itself. It's a little bit easier to remove if you have patience, which I don't really have right now. Okay, so all the adhesive from the front bezel has been removed, and now it's time to actually use a little bit of alcohol just to clean the sides, to make sure that there is not any hand grease or anything left, you know, from your fingerprints. So we make sure that the adhesive we're gonna apply is gonna stay there. Good. Okay, so just gonna a little bit of alcohol, just dab a microfiber cloth or a napkin or something, and go slowly. Don't put too much pressure on it, just because I don't know if you can see, there are some clips, plastic clips here on the side of the bezel right there. Okay, so if you put too much pressure, you might actually break them, and you don't really want that. Okay, so just enough so the alcohol makes contact with the plastic. Okay, now we're gonna take tape and put it around. This is your regular 3M double-sided tape found on Amazon. Okay, it has the right width for the sides. I'm gonna find the ending of it. Here we go. If you wanna ask me what the width, hold on guys, let me just close the door a little bit. Okay, this one guy was playing a guitar right next to me, so okay. The width, again, the width of this one, I believe it's 2 millimeters. I'm not entirely sure, but this is used for phones or computers, so pretty much is what I'm using most of the time. You can also double it if it's not the correct width. And on the top, on the bottom, I'm gonna use the same thickness like I used on the back of the LCD. Again, feel free to use, if you have only one size tape, you can use that one and just double it. Okay, so put one next to each other, it will give you the right width. Not that it is really important, okay, because even if you put a thinner one, it will still hold the screen just fine. Okay, and for the top one, okay, we're gonna put a little thinner one. Okay. Make sure you put half of the screen, you don't block the camera. Okay, leave the camera window actually without any glue around it, and then you can start on this side as well. Okay, just like that. Okay, now let's remove the tape, take it out of the way. I have a little space here to work. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, might be a little bit tricky. Don't remove the protective side of the tape just yet, because we're not ready to put it in. You might want to actually exercise a little bit to see how it goes inside of the right here, because it's a little bit tricky. Okay, if you find yourself in any difficulty doing that, what I would recommend you, well, that's definitely not shown into my video, but you can open the computer up. You have screws under these legs, and then you have 3 more screws right here onto the front of the computer. You remove the back plate, and then you remove the hinges. That will remove the screen itself, and it's easier for you to put in the bezel. Okay, because we're gonna find ourselves in a little bit difficulty here by trying to put the bezel. So we're gonna start from the bottom, right? We'll push it down, and why it's a little bit difficult, because this plastic right here, you see you have 2 clips on each side. That one will actually have to reach under the hinges in order to keep the screen, to keep the bezel fine. So you'll have to push it down. Okay, watch the cables, make sure, hold on, let me show you. Make sure that the cables are out of the way. So you see this Lvds cable and everything, it has it has some routing kind of channel, I don't know how to call it. Make sure it's out of the way. Okay, and now you'll try to put it just like this. Okay, and you will feel when it goes in. Okay, so, and you can press it with just like that onto the bezel. Watch the screen. Okay, and that's pretty much it. It is in. If you measure it on top, it's perfectly fine. So yeah, you are ready to remove that adhesive, backing of the adhesive, and just put it back. And you can check that you did a good job here by turning the computer onto the other side. You can put the screen down, and you should be able to see the end of the bezel right here. You shouldn't see any gap. You see, like these cables, you should not be able to see it if you pushed it all the way in. Okay, I cannot really push it from this angle, but we'll do it from this side. Okay, so yeah, take your time. You can put the screen all the way back, just like that. Okay. Yeah, so you can put the screen all the way back as far as it goes, and hold on, let's see, okay, and just slowly push it down. Okay. And we're gonna check the back again to make sure it is all the way in. See how it looks. And yeah, that's about it. And as you see right now, we have that. If we hold it down, the glue will hold it down, but you can hold it with the hand right now. You'll see that it aligns properly onto the top. You see, it's right there at the top. Okay, so we can remove the adhesive. I mean, remove the back of the adhesive. And that is about it. Okay, let's add a different tweezer, a sharper one. You might ask why I didn't remove this before. Just because you don't want to mistakenly glue the bezel into the wrong position. Okay. And it's going to be very difficult for you to remove it or potentially damage your new screen. Okay, because some tapes are very, very strong. They hold very well. Okay. And okay. Now this guy also has a little bit of an issue here because his hinges are not perfect. So that goes beautiful, that goes beautiful. Okay, make sure it's all the way in, and we start now from the back. Just snap it into place. Okay, snap it, glue and snap on the side, and you work your way to the bottom. And the bottom, we are ready to actually seat it, and and there we go. Gonna push it a little bit with the finger, and ta-da! That's it. You see, guys? Perfect. There's no gap anywhere. Okay, and let's try the screen. Make sure it still works. Let's see that beautiful HP logo over there. Okay, and that works. So, with that said, that's pretty much how you are supposed to do to replace the screen in this HP computer. I hope I helped some of you guys. If I did help you, please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, drop a comment, or eventually a request for the next computer project. I'm not promising that I will be able to do the exact computer that you are requesting, because I'm doing them as they come in the shop, but I'll definitely make a note, and if one comes, the one that you requested, I'll definitely do that. So yeah, long story short, let's I hope I helped you. Like the channel, subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, stay safe and have a good one. Take care.